Since 2004, a radical experiment in the early years provision has been going on in Wales. At over 40 schools across the country, they've been piloting a new play-based curriculum for 3 to 7-year-olds. And from 2008, it will be implemented in all schools. Welcome to the foundation phase. At the centre of the foundation phase is learning by doing and learning through play. Pont Llanfraith Primary School has been piloting the new approach, and this programme will look at how they're encouraging physical developments in their nursery and reception classes.
Come on, we're not looking at this morning, are we ready? Let's see how our skipping's going. Boys, is the skipping getting better? Yeah. Off we go.
Physical development really impacts all areas of the learning. Our learning is based on topics that we do, and I would say that physical comes into our creative with our singing and our dance and our drama, our role play. I mean, outdoors topics, the environment that we're doing still uses physical skills through that as well. So yeah, it actually impacts on all areas of the foundation phase.
Because there's so many games at home where they just sit down. And so I think school really needs to compensate for the experiences that maybe they're not having at home. So we use physical development throughout, I would say throughout the curriculum.
We know that there are so many issues around children being at desks and not able to perform effectively, and we wanted to ensure that children had experiences where they were physically very much involved in a play and sport element as well as involved in the classroom. So we wanted to find a range of experiences to encourage our youngest children to learn in every single environment.
The foundation phase needed to be introduced because our approach was becoming far too stilted, far too stereotyped. We were constantly worrying that we should race our children into writing experiences for which they didn't have the necessary experiences or the necessary skills.
To be able to hold a pencil, a child has got to be able to have some control over their fingers. They've got to be able to have manipulated different things. So their experiences in building with Lego, with stickle bricks, using pegs, threading, all those experiences are really, really important in having enough strength to hold and control a pencil. No child is going to be able to control a pencil and be able to write or draw until they've had all those pre-writing experiences.
In reception, they actually peg items onto the line with the pegs. In nursery, it's enough at the moment just to try and get the pegs on the line. So we're working on squeezing the pegs. Firstly, they're doing it with their hand, and then the older ones are starting to use a pincer grip. And then it's actually getting it on the line as well. It's sort of that hand-eye coordination. A lot of differentiation is done through the task. So, for example, if we're cutting, we'll provide a variety of different scissors. First, the ones that they just need to squeeze, then support scissors that adults use with them, and then scissors that they can use independently. So in that way, we use the equipment to differentiate.
We did hedgehogs for cutting because our sound this week is H. Hedgehogs have a nice outline, a spiky outline, far more difficult for some children to go in and out. They need to be quite dexterous with their scissors control.
Of course, all children play, and we wanted to enthuse children's learning by using play as a vehicle, both child-led play and structured teacher-led play, in terms of linking learning achievement through the play and active agenda. And let's be honest, we wanted children to get outdoors.
I think it's very important that we take children on walks, that they go around the school looking at everything that we've got here. And I think it's one of the things that we've really got to inculcate into them, that walking is something to be enjoyed and something to be treasured.
Coming up on the bench then.
We do activities in the environment and around on the fields and the gardens.
I want you to concentrate now. I want you to think. Pussy in the box, pussy in the box. What's in the box today? Pussy in the box.
I think it's dragon. Leaves. Leaves.
Have a look. They're not green leaves, are they, all of them? So if you have a red leaf,
I have a red leaf.
come and thread it onto our red lace.
I love red.
Today we did leaf threading, so we were talking about autumn leaves, and then you can bring in colours and shape and size, that sort of thing. But the physical skill was the threading of the leaves onto the coloured lace and the fine motor control that it takes to do that.
That's lovely. That's lovely. There's a green one, Kai.
I found that the planning was a little bit more than it used to be because you've got extra members of staff, and if you want to use those staff to their full potential, then you've got to plan well for them, really. But then the staff are a good resource within themselves. They've got so many ideas that they want to try, that they've picked up along the way. So we tend to pool a lot of ideas together, and then I go away and do the planning myself.
Also, I think you need to be thinking of a number of fun ways to do the same activity, so that the children don't realise they're doing the same activity. But you've got all these other fun ways that you can do it. And I think once you get into that sort of planning, it comes quite easily. Today is the day that Mr. Jolly has chosen to go on a jolly journey. This year we started to do jolly phonics. So physical activities are used to enhance the saying of the sound. Some children find saying a sound quite inhibiting, really, because the sound doesn't mean anything to them. But as soon as you put an action with it, it's a different kettle of fish, and the children want to do it so much. So we've tried to think of lots and lots of different ways to learn our phonic sounds without just flashcards or sitting down with a lotto game. And the Jolly Journey is one of them, where we hang at sounds and they've got to go and find the sounds. Well, you know, you're also enhancing physical development then, because they've got to go down the steps, they've got to go along the yellow brick road in some sort of way, and so lots of physical activity, really enhancing what is a language literacy and communication activity.
Super. Balance.
In the nursery, they use lots of outside activities and equipment to develop the children's gross motor skills.
Through there, Kai. We quite often set up an obstacle course of sorts, which the children usually help to set up, and that's physical activity on its own, you know, bringing all the equipment out. Part of this physical development framework is also setting up and clearing away their own equipment. So we involve that. It's exercise for them. It gets them up and running and going. And we use a lot of positional language, over and under and through and round.
Over, jump over, jump over. Come on then.
We do quite a lot of risk-taking within a safe environment, which is the way we phrase it, really. So when you've got an adult support with them, and that you can push the children to take things a little bit further and try something different, try something that's a little bit harder. So we had the waffle blocks, and they said that it was easier if they pushed them together, and it would be harder if they moved them apart. So we gradually moved them further apart, and things got a little bit harder, and then to the point where they needed perhaps an adult to hold a hand, you know. And it just gets them to think about things, to push themselves a little bit more, but still within a safe environment. We do a range of different ball skills. Today we had the netball out. Apart from aiming the ball for the hoop, there's actually quite a big skill in throwing the ball. Throwing the ball up in the air is quite a complex sort of system of skills for the children to put in order to actually get the ball through the hoops.
I got the red
A
one.
red one, that's right. So
Parents' reactions initially, like some reactions of professionals, when we first began, was that we were all about play, for play's sake. It was really important to emphasise that this was playing to purpose. It was playing with a plan. It was playing to take the children forward to future quality learning. We have a motto that we've adopted within our foundation phase here: learning to play, playing to learn.
We've held open days in school, play days for the parents to come in and work with their children and see what goes on, find out the nitty-gritty information about the foundation phase. So by keeping them well informed, I think we've kept them on board.
I've got letters at home and booklets that I've had off Miss King telling me all about the foundation phase, how they're being assessed through the year, rather than have one assessment at the end of the year and they're judged on that. They're being assessed throughout the 12 months. And so she knows exactly what each child is doing through the 12 months.
Well, I work on a name sheet basis to record progress. Each member of staff, when they're working with a child, will have their name on a tick sheet and they'll make notes on how well the child coped with the activity. Did they achieve the outcomes that were set for that activity or not? How much support they needed, that sort of thing. And then all members of staff report back at the end of the session with those sheets to discuss how the children got on, and we use those then to inform the following week's planning.
Down the hill. Biggest changes under the foundation phase for me is that I've got more staff working with me, so we can do more quality small group work, which I believe brings on the average child far more. The little child that you might think at the end of the week, how much have you done for? That little child really blossoms because of the small group situations.
The foundation phase is very labour intensive. The whole benefit that we are experiencing at the moment is this enhanced pupil-teacher ratio. It means that children have, within a small group, a very good role model.
Do you think we can sing the rhyme?
Yeah.
Ready then? Two little dicky birds
Sitting on the wall. One named Peter, one named Paul.
Fly away, Peter. Fly away, Paul. Come back, Peter.
Come back, Paul.
There's a smaller adult-child ratio, so that we tend to spend more time talking to the children, enabling them to have develop with greater confidence and to be able to speak more freely and to actually spend the time talking to the children, getting to know them.
I think Peter's gone missing.
During my teaching career, at one point, I had a reception class of 37 children with myself and a part-time nursery nurse. And however much you tried, there was no way that you could give those children the input that they needed. As a result of the foundation phase, I think I'm a far more laid-back teacher now. I don't let things worry me the same. So I think I've benefited as much as the children have benefited.
Yay!
Staff have become more relaxed, staff have become happier, and as a result, this happiness has passed over to the children.